Altered. Chapter 1. By Natalie Reinelt. Directive. AD. Is our operative in place? The startled tech's unease as he dropped his polishing cloth and shoved his Coke bottle lenses back into place set the assistant director's lips curling upward in a smile of pleasure that most would have labeled a sneer, a misconception she had no desire to rectify. Besides, who was she to deprive herself of the added enjoyment of watching her staff stumble over themselves to please her? Yes, AD, just awaiting your orders. Excellent. AD, how she loathed the title. If anything could have erased her fleeting moment of pleasure, that was it. Activate Prime 1, she ordered, straining to contain the growl forcing its way upward. The tech's fingers flew across the keyboard, filling his black monitor with green jargon the AD had neither the ability nor the inclination to interpret. She did, however, receive another brief rush of pleasure when the bank of computers lining the wall thrummed to life, their reel-to-reel processing units consuming the code almost as quickly as he entered it. Then something crackled, filling the air with the acrid stench of burning plastic as a receiving reel slowed, releasing loops of ribbon, cheeks flushing crimson as she cast a wary glance toward the AD. A young woman jumped from her workstation. Dashing to the controls, she wrenched a lever to stop the machine, spun the ribbon taut, and then set the reels in motion again. If it hadn't been for the security afforded by complete detachment from the prying world of the internet, the AD would have replaced the antiquated equipment, technology that had been around for most of her career, years ago. But then, life was full of compromises. And sometimes, antiquated relics had their uses. Turning from the code flickering across the tech's monitor, she fixed her gaze on the flat screens covering the far wall. Her furrowed brow smoothed as she witnessed the result of her command. Her smile exposed a flash of perfect white teeth, until a slight breeze, combined with the brush of a muscled arm against her own, sent a wave of heat surging through her chest and face, betraying her rising blood pressure. How she hated to be touched, in any way. "Fetch our asset," she ordered, her low growl propelling the silent man beside her into motion. Displaced. Sadie. Static filled the 20-inch television sitting center stage in our sparsely furnished story and a half. Somewhere outside the safety of our home, the transmission had failed, as it seemed to do on a regular basis in this sad excuse for a neighborhood. I held my breath, waiting for the signal to return so I could be certain that what I thought I saw was no more than a figment of my imagination. The front door crashed in. I heard it, but couldn't move. Even when a man strode across the room to hit the power switch, terminating the hypnotic drone emitting from the television. His simple action might have released me from my trance, but I remained frozen, unable to look away from the blackened screen. Sadie? His voice was so quiet he might as well not have spoken at all. Sadie? The dark demand in his tone forced my gaze from the screen to meet a pair of grief-stricken green eyes set in a freckled face, capped with short hair the color of overripe carrots. He reached out. So, it was true. That image that had so briefly appeared on the screen was true. His gesture of comfort ended with my recoil. "Get your things," he barked. "We have to go." When I didn't move, his face contorted with fear. No, it had to be anger. "Now!" Fighting against the tears now threatening to fall, I sped toward the stairs to implement a routine practiced so many times I knew exactly how long it would take. 12 seconds to my room to grab the duffel bag and backpack lying ready and waiting in the closet. 10 seconds to pry free the loose floorboard in my mother's closet and secure the leather pouch hidden away. And another 9 seconds back down to the front hallway, where a patina leather coat hung on one of the wall hooks. There was nothing else to collect. No family photos, no keepsakes, nothing. Clutching my elbow hard enough to dig his nails into my flesh, Felix ushered me out the back doorway to the alley separating our yard from the ones behind. and urged me into the torn, upholstered passenger seat of his rust-pocked yellow Corolla. As he slid across the dented hood to the driver's side, my mother's constant preaching about survival tactics incited me to hide the leather pouch under the seat for safekeeping. The turn of his key in the ignition created nothing more than a choked, whirring sound that wouldn't catch. Slamming the palm of his hand against the dash in frustration, he muttered a curse at the temperamental engine and tried again. Foot pumping the pedal, he coaxed the engine with forced, sweet words of encouragement. The second it sputtered to life, he shifted the stick into gear, eliciting an ear-piercing grind in his haste. With a sharp pain poking relentlessly behind my right eye, my mind reeled with the Herculean task of closing off my emotions while trying to sort through the wreckage of the past few minutes. A flight like this had happened before, but not since I was 11, and not without my mother. This time, I was on my own. Sure, I had Felix, but how deep did my trust for the man go? My mother had known him since she was a little girl, much younger than I myself had been when I first asked her about him. Or so she told me. But something didn't fit. Just like my life of so many different personas over my short 17 years, a jumbled compilation of too many puzzles, interwoven into a confusing mishmash that didn't quite fit together unless one applied enough pressure to force them, or altered some edges. The finished product might have been a blurry picture, but with the right amount of storytelling prowess and a lot of practice, lying, a person could make just about anyone believe it to be the truth. Again, the question, did I trust him?